It is a period of Star Wars mania, as new movies, comic books, novels, and TV shows populate the system. Fueled by their love and passion for the galaxy far, far away, two exceptional geeks tap into hundreds of holocrons in order to bring you the knowledge and insight of all things Star Wars. Come and join them as they go inside the Force.
Welcome back, everybody, to Inside the Force on this glorious day of June.
Yes.
Yes.
Indeed.
The third week of Rebel Alliance month. We are going to be talking about Mon Mothma.
For MM.
MM.
As they say.
That's right.
No one says that.
As we say.
We said it.
We say
it's a
it.
thing.
This is episode 13. We're calling this one Chief of State because Mon Mothma ends up being Chief of State. And this is the third and most important person of the formation of the Rebel Alliance that we kept talking about the past couple weeks. If you listened, the Corellian Treaty, which was signed by the one who we hit on the first week, Bail Organa.
Right.
Garm Bail Bliss in the second week from Corellia. Mm-hmm. Organa from Alderaan, obviously. And then now we have Mon Mothma from Chandrila.
Right.
And before we get into her, at Inside the Force is our Twitter account. You can follow us there. InsideTheForce.com is our website. If you haven't found it there where you're listening to this, you can listen to every episode right there on the webpage. Follow us on Twitter again and our RSS feed. And actually, I got to say this because we're going to be saying this all over the 21 network. Our RSS feeds have actually moved. So the entire month of June, you're not going to be affected. But unless you resubscribe, unfortunately, I hate to do this to y'all. Unless you resubscribe, you will not get any more updates once July hits. And what that means is that if you're subscribed to, if you're listening to us on iTunes, the feed has already been changed. So all you really have to do is basically resubscribe. And you'll see that it actually adds another subscription level. And then you can get rid of this one starting in July. This one, like I said, will not update. So if you're doing it on just another reader, a Google reader, or just a RSS reader, same thing. Just resubscribe real fast, and it's really that simple and that easy. Or, like I said, just go to our website, InsideTheForce.com. You can keep listening all there. Everything's updated there on a weekly basis. So, now that I got that out of the way. All right, so we are hitting on Rebel Alliance month this June. And we got one more to do as far as the formation, and then next week we'll talk about the whole Rebel Alliance in general. Mm-hmm. So Mon Mothma, yes, she was introduced in Episode VI, Return of the Jedi, back in 1983. Played by, do you have that? She's right here.
Is her
name is Caroline.
Yeah, she's
Caroline
last name.
Blackenston.
Okay.
She was, and apparently she was an English actor. She was doing a television series in Manchester, England, and they did all the shooting in London, so they probably just grabbed her and
yeah.
And
was she only in that one scene?
That one scene. Yep. And as far as according to this, she was never even written upon or even known about the first two. 4 and 5. She was written in this one and casted for this one, and then became, I think, from there, everybody kind of, because I think it had to have been. I mean, I was too young to really think about it then, but it's like when you first see her, you're almost like, who is this? Because it's never explained who she is. You know what I mean? All of a sudden, she's doing the briefing on how to attack, and she has that great face and line.
That's gonna be one of my
many Bothans die.
Yeah, many buttons.
And then she kind of snaps out of it, It's like, whoa, who are you?
This lady coming on in here.
Like, wait a minute, she's in charge of the Rebel Alliance? What the? Yeah, so she introduces Akbar, doesn't she? Is she the one that introduces Akbar?
Maybe, yeah. The General Ampar will tell you about something.
Yeah. Anyways, so she shows up in episode 6, but, we'll go back to where she came from, the planet Chandrilla, which is a homeworld that she's from, and she was born there on 48 BBY. She was obviously born into a wealthy family as well, very similar to Bail Organa. Chandrilla also, just to let you know real quickly, that is the second planet in the Chandrilla system. It is the sector is a Bormia sector. Very obviously in the core worlds as well. So it's kind of in the ballpark of Alderaan and all the highly sophisticated and populated worlds in the Star Wars universe. Had 2 kids, a daughter, Lita, and a son, Jobin. And she was she was a senator from Chandrilla. Of course, in all of this, her mother was Tanis, and her mother was governor of the planet. Her father was an arbiter general for the Republic, so she was obviously in the family of politics. Became the senator and at I don't know what
age of 19.
She was 19?
Yeah, 19.
Yeah. Okay. So 19, she was elected. She was elected as the representative of the sector in the Galactic Senate, becoming the youngest to serve. Who ended up breaking it was
Leia
Organa. Yeah. So anyway, we've kind of hit on her a lot these past couple of weeks because you can't really talk about one without the other. And what we've come to know of her is when the 3 of them came together, Bail, Garm, and Mon, signing the Corellian Treaty, there was a certain aspect of each one that contributed to the Rebel Alliance. Bail, it was his money. He was the wealthiest of the 3. Garm, because he's from Corellia, like we hit on when we did the planet Corellia, very military, strong planet. A lot of ships are built there. So he supplied kind of the fleet.
Right.
Chandrilla, and this is interesting. We should probably do the planet just to kind of get to know it. But she supplied the soldiers. She had the army that was able to fight back against their alliance. Now, what we said last week, which was pretty neat too, is it doesn't really say with her, but I'm assuming that because we read it in Garm's profile, is that they each kind of fought their own little skirmishes.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm assuming it probably happened with her too.
Yeah, I remember reading it when I was researching Garmvel Blitza. She had this Chandrillan resistance. So she did have her own little pocket that she was just, I guess, kind of in control of.
Right. But as Garm, who we said kind of went into hiding, not hiding, but kind of wanted to separate himself in the planet, and Bail, went with the Emperor. She actually spoke against him.
Right. Yeah.
In every way she could. She was the voice of trying to, just voice how bad of an idea the Emperor and the Galactic Empire is, that diplomacy should, continue. Spoke up against, was a big proponent of what they call the Delegation of 2000, right? That we talked about last week, to stop cloning, to stop the clones being made, to, as Padme would always say, let diplomacy continue and let the talking end the war kind of thing. But obviously that's not what happened, and that's not what Palpatine ended up wanting. But just a big proponent of against everything, and it kind of cost her. Yeah. Because not in the end, but eventually, after we talked about last week after what was the name of the one that got assassinated, the senator?
Feng Zhar.
Feng Zhar, after he got assassinated. She basically was then had, and I think she had her life threatened a few times.
Yeah, she, man, it says here like at 3 BBY, she was attempted to be arrested by the empire, by the emperor, because all the opposition that she's been presenting against the empire. He tried to arrest her, but then actually Bail Organa secretly helped her to escape and gave her a guard, and that's when she went underground. She went into hiding.
That's right.
But she still, from then, was, this is before the Carillion Treaty, so she's still...
A year before.
Yeah, so she's, I guess, kind of working with her own resistance group.
Yeah, so that's and that's the thing that's strange too, because in 2 BBY we've hit on it a few times. The Carillion Treaty happens, and she almost gets. I mean, she basically gets caught. Everybody gets caught, but Galen Merrick, saves them, and she continues to obviously go into hiding. But it's weird how Bail doesn't seem like he goes into hiding, unless he does. We don't know exactly, I guess, for sure, but
yeah.
Either way, he doesn't get caught, obviously, but he's on Alderaan, I think, when it gets destroyed. But, she's completely in hiding. She's commanding the Alliance from then on, basically underground.
Yeah.
Garm, that's what we talked about. Garm Bail Bliss is worried that she eventually, because of her leadership and her power on the Alliance, that she would basically just take Palpatine's place.
Yeah.
Which is strange that I even think that why would you even sign a treaty?
Yeah.
If you, I don't know.
It sounds like a rebellion against the rebellion.
Right. But we, like you pointed out, he was ready for that. He kind of had some stuff stocked up just in case he had to fight against her, but obviously that didn't happen. At least we don't think it happened. We won't know until episode 7, I guess. Huh? But yeah, so she is leading the rebellion all through episodes 4, 5, and 6. And you only know that if you read about it, I guess, because if you just watch the movies, you don't really even know about it until episode 6. So that's when she kind of comes out with the plan, and then everything gets enacted and works in the end. Yeah. So she also then, that's why this episode is called Chief of State, because once they actually take over Coruscant or restore the Republic, which is then called the New Republic, she becomes the first Chief of State, which I'm assuming, I guess they get rid of the whole Chancellor title.
Well, I'm going to look it up here because I know from reading the books that there was like a Chancellor-like role, and Bothan actually was, Boris Kfalia was this role, and I'm trying to figure out right now what role he acted as, because I wonder if they reestablished it as kind of like a United Kingdom where they had a prime minister and they have a queen, or so I wonder if it had like a two thing. I'll look it up here real quick.
Yeah, it says once the Alliance transitioned into the New Republic, she became Chief of State. For 11 years, she led it, the Democratic Republic, holding together the fractions and everything. So, so I don't know if they, it doesn't say whether or not they ever established the Chancellor again or not, but I'm assuming maybe they do.
Well, they might not, but I know this character who I'm thinking of was like basically leader on Coruscant, which confuses me. I wish I can read super fast so I can figure this out, but because I can't quite find it. But yeah, so I guess she was like basically leader of the New Republic.
Yeah, she was basically leader. It also says here, which I don't know if this is going to hang true to canon once episode 7 comes out, but she actually presided over the wedding of Leia and Han. So we'll get into the rumors of episode 7, or some news about episode 7 here in a little bit that might lend itself to this a little bit. But until I don't know if we'll ever know that, because it might be so far in the future. Episode 7, they might skipped over that or whatever. But anyway, So we're getting kind of into some non-canon stuff, which we really try to avoid here. We're actually trying to give you major canon stuff. So anything after episode 6 really is kind of up for grabs.
Right.
Even technically the chief of state thing.
Right. Yeah.
She may not have, which I'm assuming. I mean, she was the only leader left, so it would have definitely made sense for her to probably assume leadership until they either A, have an election, or B, she just steps down and gives it to somebody else. But
Yeah.
but ultimately, she's basically the leader of the Rebel Alliance through what movies we know as the original trilogy, 4, 5, and 6. Ever since, definitely since the Carillion Treaty, but definitely after Alderaan was destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
Because like we said last week, Garm Bale Bliss was basically kind of running his own show and separating himself, not from the Republic, but basically from everything, trying to get himself out of the wars, keep his planet peaceful. So... what else can we say about Mon Mothma?
Honestly, I mean, in the expanded universe, she is dead. She died right before the Yuuzhan Vong War, but her her character is still being expanded upon with this Star Wars comic series. It's called just Star Wars. It's set months after the Battle of Yavin, and she's in it, and she's set in between 4 and 5. But Mon Mothma is very much an important part of the comic. She's leader of the rebellion. And she's working there behind the scenes. We haven't seen Garm Bale Bliss, which I don't know if we ever will in these comics. That'd be very interesting.
Yeah, I don't know
if we see them. But right now it's Mon Mothma, and she's leading the rebellion. And it's a really good series. But
yes.
So yeah, we're still learning new things about her. I mean, like little things from when she was still senator, and she says that she used to mentor Princess Leia to help prepare her, I guess, to take over her father whenever he would retire. But he didn't retire. Well, he kind of did.
He retired.
Retired big time. But
to the big cloud in the sky.
That's sad.
Yeah.
But there's really, honestly, there's not much else we can elaborate on because, frankly, we don't have that much information.
We don't.
About
It's strange that you have more information on Garm, who is in nothing besides the expanded universe, technically. Besides, the only canon thing he's in is really the game, Force Unleashed. But there's a lot of information on him. It seems like maybe there's not as much on her because there's a lot more to tell of her. Now, she does appear in several deleted scenes from Episode 3.
That's right.
So she was filmed in Episode 3. She was replaced by a woman that looked like Carolyn, it says. What was it? Her name was... Genevieve O'Reilly played her in Episode 3, but ultimately was cut from the movie. But you can see them on the Blu-rays and DVD deleted scenes. And it's really, I mean, I thought maybe in the Blu-rays he would put him back in, because he kind of has been known to do that sometimes, he threw some scenes back in for Episode 1.
Oh, yeah.
I was hoping that those would go in because I think those were... I mean, they weren't essential to the story, but they were just cool little things to see, that even back 19 years before Episode 4, that it actually, they were talking about,
very cool.
that things were going on. And Padme, and I think it did lend a little bit to Padme because she was very hesitant at first because she didn't know what to believe. Anakin was her husband, it was like... What how could this be? The Jedi, and they should know this, and but both Bale and it would have been neat if Garm was in that meeting, but he never was. But like we said, he wasn't really involved in that. He believed in it, but he wasn't really involved. But she was in it. She Mon Mothma spoke her piece about it. You can tell she was kind of forging the way, in that meeting, even though Bale was the one that kind of called it, but.
Also we see her a lot in the Clone Wars too, but again, she's always in the backseat somewhere. She's, not doing much, honestly, but so she is in other things besides Episode 6 that is officially canon, and besides The Force Unleashed. But yeah, we haven't really seen much from her, so maybe we'll see her in episode 7. I doubt it, honestly, but
Yeah, because she's kind of an older
the
lady.
actress, yeah, if they get the same actress, she's 80 right now.
Which she turned 80 this year. That's right.
So either they will write her off, maybe she passed within the last
Right.
35 years, but so yeah, that's basically all
Or we could just see her as an older woman that's
Yeah.
retired. You know,
Absolutely.
I mean, that's pretty cool too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and just to kind of clarify, yeah, Chief of State was the official like head of the New Republic, and what I was talking about was, she was Chief of State, Mon Mothma. Then it went to Leia Organa, then it went back to Mon Mothma, then back to Leia, then then someone named Ponk Gaversorn, and then it went back to Leia, then Borsk Felia, the Bothan, and then a couple other people after that.
Mm-hmm.
So, but if you guys, even though we're only touching on like what could be what basically is canon, I still suggest read the expanded universe because although it probably will be contradicted,
it's a good stories.
Yeah, especially with the character I just now mentioned, Borsk Felia. Like he's a pretty cool character, especially during the Yuuzhan Vong War. And something too I want to point out here. It says with the expanded universe, Mon Mothma was supposed to die in this one book, and she did end up dying. And actually, I remember that scene. And I remember she almost died in the scene, but in the book.
It was the 1994 novel Champions of the Force.
Yeah, very good book. My gosh.
But actually, Lucasfilm
Yeah,
is the one that said no, she's not going to die.
which is interesting to me that Lucasfilm would make that decision,
Right.
because
But what timeline? Where does Champions of the Force
that
land?
that's not that far after the movies. I know the Solo twins. It's after the Thrawn trilogy. The Solo twins are grown up for the most part, I believe. I'm going to try to look it up here real quick. But it is...
It's 11 ABY.
Yeah. I believe that is...
So that's only 5 years after Return of the Jedi,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
No,
I think so.
7 years.
7 years? Okay.
Return of the Jedi is 4 ABY. So 7 years after that is when she was supposed to die in this novel, but they denied it. So ultimately, what happened is there's the only other reference we have of her death is in the New Essential Chronology, which was published in 2005. It says in there that Mothma passed away in her sleep in the year 24 ABY. So according to this, her death was in 24 ABY, which means that's 20 years after episode 6, meaning if they follow that, she will not be in episode 7.
Right. Yeah, I'm trying to think of what book. I can't remember if she was at. I can't remember that being mentioned in a book where she passed. One of the stories, because that happened.
Well, all it says is that the Essential Chronology
didn't
establishes that she passed away in 20. So it might not be a book ever that.
Yeah,
because she doesn't die in a war or anything.
No.
She just passes away from old age, I guess.
But I remember that when she almost died in the Champions of the Force, and they put her in a bacta tank and repaired her. That trilogy especially is one of my favorite Star Wars trilogies, book wise. But it's interesting that Lucasfilm would have a say in it, because I wonder, because they have a guide to keep control of all the canon of the expanded universe, make sure it fits with the movies. But it seems strange to me that they would go through all that trouble and not consider the expanded universe when thinking of the new movies. I don't know. It's strange.
Well, yeah, because apparently George had outlines, right?
Yeah.
For 7, 8, 9.
Absolutely.
So even there's rumors too of 10, 11, 12. But no, I think they kind of like a lot of stuff that you're seeing with Boba Fett. Like they don't want maybe a game about him, or they don't want because they didn't want anybody to write anything about him during the time between 3 and 4, because they want to explore that possibly in television or movies. So that's probably maybe she's one of them that But like I said, if they stick to her actual year of passing, she will not be in episode 7.
Yeah. Okay.
But there are. I'm pretty sure. Not pretty sure, but I guess it's possible, they can do a television show an animated show, just like 5 years after Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
6 years after Return of the
Absolutely.
Jedi, like more, kind of the formation of the rebellion and all the New Republic and all this stuff. So Luke kind of establishing a new Jedi Order.
Yeah.
She would show up in there. So, that's possible. But according like you said, according to this, she passed. She was born 48 BBY and passed 24 ABY. So, like I said, that's Mon Mothma. Might be a lot more stories coming from her. If the Clone Wars continued, I would assume we probably would have got more of her.
Yeah, absolutely.
But no more Clone Wars. Now, I guess it's possible. We'll see with Rebels.
Yeah, absolutely.
I definitely think she'll be in that. Hopefully, we get some Garm in there too.
Yes,
Bella Bliss.
I really hope.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. So more to come on Mon,
Yeah.
probably. So those are the three leaders. If you will listen back to episode 11, 12, and 13, these are the three leaders of the rebellion, the formation of the rebellion, the Carillion Treaty that was signed in 2 BBY. These three are the ones representing their respective planets to fight back and restore the Republic against the Empire. So next week, when we episode 14, when we hit on finish Rebel Alliance month, we will talk about just the Rebel Alliance in general, how what we know they did so far through those 19 years, and what kind of strategies they had and stuff like that. We'll talk about all that kind of stuff next week. And then July. What are we going to do in July, Case?
We will have a new theme.
We will have a new theme. What's the theme?
We shall do Bounty Hunters.
Bounty Hunter Month.
Yeah.
In July. That's
Boom.
going to be boom. That's
Boom.
exactly it. That's exactly how you described that. Boom.
It's gonna rock. Some of your favorite characters.
Yep.
We will discuss.
We will discuss some bounty hunters.
Yes. Not Boba Fett, probably.
Probably not. He's
You know about him.
yeah, you know everything about him, and there's more that we'll definitely find out about him.
But some fan favorites that people
we'll
don't
definitely
really
hit
know
some
about.
fan favorites. Well, besides Boba, who's your favorite
Bounty
bounty
Hunter?
hunter?
I mean, honestly, I really love some of the ones that were created in the Clone Wars, like Cad Bane. He was really cool. I just love his voice. Yeah, that southern thing going on, but that Cajun thing. Bosk is always a cool guy. I don't know anything about him honestly, but he just looks like a cool guy.
Yeah, he does.
You have Aura Singh, who again Clone Wars expanded on her, made her to be pretty cool.
Yep.
Let's see, like there's some Dengar. He's one that's kind of cool, and IG is it IG-38,
IG-88.
IG-88. Yeah.
Now IG-88 is because he's a droid.
Yeah.
He's the one that intrigues me the most.
Yeah.
Like, how does a droid become a bounty hunter?
Yeah.
But then I also am intrigued with Aurora Singh.
Aurora
Singh, because I think and maybe she becomes one that we profile. But as far as the stuff that I have read about her, which is crazy, is that she actually her first appearance was episode 1. Mm-hmm. You saw her just standing there.
Yeah.
But I think she was an expanding universe creation, similar to Coruscant.
Yeah.
I think she was created in I think there were stories called the Bounty Hunters, the Bounty Hunter stories. Mm-hmm. But they took place, I think, after episode 6. But I think she might have been established or created then, maybe, or something like that. But anyway, I think her showing up in episode 1 was supposed to be kind of a tip to the cap of the expanded universe. But then they obviously created more of her and put her in the Clone Wars and whatnot. And you see that she has a direct relationship with Boba Fett, linked to Boba Fett in a way. So anyway, she was voiced by Jamie King. Yeah, in the Clone Wars. So she's pretty interesting to me.
She's got like a little bionic aspect to her. Actually,
I didn't notice that.
Little antenna.
I didn't even notice that until the Clone Wars. That's crazy. Yeah, so we want we'll figure out who we're going to hit on. We haven't completely decided yet, but those are some of our favorites, and we'll look up some other ones. I'm sure. I forgot about Cad Bane. He's a pretty good. Yeah, he's a pretty good one. All right, so let's get into some. News. What kind of news we got?
I want to save the biggest one for last.
Yeah, we got the big one to talk about.
I actually need to figure out what the source of it is. But some little news going on. Let's see. Well, like there was an interview with George Lucas about they asked him what he thinks about basically J.J. Abrams and Star Wars. Is like a general question, but he gave some pretty cool quotes. He said he is excited that J.J. is the director. I mean, obviously he would say that, but then he says his reasoning behind it. He said, quote, George Lucas says, "I think he understands the whole thing and how it works," talking about Star Wars. Then he said, and if he doesn't, Kathy Kennedy will keep it straight. And then he kind of said that in a tongue-in-cheek way. But it's very interesting, that quote to me, because, he also goes on to say, like, he's only there as a consultant, again, talking about how if they need him, then he'll offer his opinion. Aside from that, he's on, George Lucas is doing his own thing. So he literally will be just a kind of a, phone a friend kind of guy. Like, they'll just ask him questions if they need him. But it's interesting because it seems like Kathy Kennedy, will have she will have some power. It seems like in how the stories. Story, so because some people are afraid that
she's going to be a producer on the movies.
Yeah, I mean, I know some fears of like Disney will have their hand in the cookie jar too much, but like Kathy Kennedy will, or J.J. Abrams as well. They're gonna. I feel like it's just more assurance that we will get a true Star Wars movie, not like what people may call a Disney-fied version, which that's some of the things I've heard. But that was just a cool interview. You guys can look it out on accesshollywood.com. The other quotes that George Lucas has said. Moving on, a couple artists or concept artists from Episode 1, two of the guys who worked on that film, are hired to work on Episode 7. And so, I mean, this is just, may seem like just a nothing kind of, hire. Like, yeah, okay, they would hire guys who's worked on Star Wars before to work on the new Star Wars. But it's interesting because I've read rumors, or people speculating, saying, because they've hired guys who worked as concept artists, guys who basically helped create the visual look of the prequels, because they're bringing them on to Episode 7, we are going to therefore get an Episode 7, a new Star Wars movie, that looks close to how Episode 1 looked. And I guess that may mean, I don't know, just everything, the cinematography of it, how it was lit or whatever, the colors of it, maybe the overall look, which, I mean, is an interesting speculation to make.
Well, I think JJ, it's based on JJ too.
Absolutely, yeah. I just thought that'd be an interesting thing to think about.
I really think we're gonna, maybe because it's the visual effects you're talking about.
Yeah, the concept. I guess these guys, I think, just literally create.
The concept artists,
yeah, like storyboards or whatever kind of stuff for it, but. It's just interesting because I know we've talked about before. Is it going to look like Episode 4 and 5 and 6, or is it going to look like 1, 2, and 3?
I think it's going to look like Star Trek.
Yeah. Okay.
That's why.
Yeah.
And because I'd have to look, but is ILM are they doing the Star Trek movies?
Probably.
I'm assuming they are.
Yeah.
So, I think it's going to look like Star Trek.
Well, I think it will.
I think the visual effects are going to look like Star Trek.
Like the way, because it's the director's look is going to look the same.
Absolutely.
But fundamentally, it's still going to look like a Star Wars movie because
Star Trek looks like a Star Wars movie.
Yeah,
to me, but
it's just like they just those fundamental things, like they dress differently. Like Star Trek dresses like sci-fi, and like Star Wars is going to feel more like a fairy tale kind of way. It's like the way they dress, the way the technology is,
and that's interesting to think about because even guys like Kirshner and Marquardt who did 5 and 6, even they said that. George was basically on set all the time. Like, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Do that. You can't do that. Do that.
Yeah.
So he had his hand directly in the formation of those movies, I think. And,
right.
And that's the thing, is that these guys, I mean, that's a whole nother argument, but, these guys, their names are directing on the movies, but I mean, they directed everything George wanted him to direct. So, so a lot of it, I think a lot of it still, nobody gives George any credit for Empire Strikes Back, but I mean, I don't know. It's it was his story. You know what I mean? So anyway, but what I'm getting at is that this seems like it's the first one where literally he is not going to have his hand on it. So technically, yes, if JJ says, I want that person to dress this way, George ain't think would be there like, that doesn't work in the Star Wars universe. I mean,
hopefully Kathy can
or Kathleen. Yeah, I think Kathleen, that's why she was hired. I think she has that understanding and that she's hired to protect the Star Wars brand. And but again, JJ is I think the ultimate choice to do that as well.
I mean, like what George Lucas just says, like, he feels that Abrams understands.
Yes.
So I've seen interviews where he understands where they are similar, but they're fundamentally different. And I think he understands, he's going to add his look to it, but it's just hard. It's going to feel like a Star Wars movie.
I think it will.
It's going to be very interesting. But moving on to another, I think to me it's pretty big news. To you, should be too. Not the biggest news we'll talk about, but the reports are that Disney World, or just Disney in general, they are going to add Star Wars Land in Disney World, which is something that's, you can just imagine what that means, Star Wars Land. But this is something that me and my buddies, we've all talked about for years. Like, why in the world have they not created a Star Wars theme park? It would obviously make a bank load of money. But seems like they're actually moving forward with it. And it doesn't seem like, I have to read the article again, but it doesn't seem like they're going to create a whole different park. Like, it's going to be, like, literally inside of Disney, like, within Disney. Because they're doing Cars Land in Disney, and I think they're doing Avatar Land and, like, Animal Kingdom of Disney World or something like that. So this is going to be Star Wars Land inside of Hollywood Studios at Walt Disney World. And there already is, like, a Star Wars section there currently. I guess they're just going to expand on it. One thing that they've kind of, like, basically sort of officially, basically one thing that they are going to do is a cantina-themed restaurant at Hollywood Studios, which is perfect. It's obvious that they should do that, make a restaurant based off the Mos Eisley Cantina. It's just what to think of how it's going to be is just going to be awesome. And, like, different things that they could do, like, literally you can have a pod racing roller coaster or something. It's just that it's limitless, I think, what they could do with Star Wars Land. But that's pretty cool for me. I mean, it's just one more reason for me to want to go to Star Wars every single year. So that is some pretty cool news. But the biggest news that we are going to talk about right now is the newest rumor of the plot of Episode VII. And
that's right.
That is, and I'm going to kind of give you what I've read, but I'm going to try to find the source of it too right now. But so far, the report is that the film will be about the Solo twins, Jason and Jaina Solo, and that it'll be about them basically being trained by Luke and their fall to the dark side. Now, how this is
the son.
Well, it's from what I read, it's both of them falling to the dark side.
You sure?
Yeah. This is from Latino Review. Their report on it. I don't know if this is where it originally came from, but it says, here's the storyline. I'm just going to read it. 2 17-year-old twins, a girl and a boy, are trained by their uncle Luke to be the greatest Jedis in the galaxy. Problems arise. Okay, so it says the male twin. When the male twin turns to the dark side. And as all of you should know, well, some of you who have read the books, this happens in the books. It's Jason Solo who turns to the dark side, becomes Darth Caedus. Right. So you have Jaina Solo, the female 17-year-old, and and then you have Jason Solo, the brother, and these are some of the greatest Jedis. But it gives, like, even little character descriptions, like Jason Solo. It says he's a loner who's constantly struggling with the idea of what's right and what's wrong. He starts to turn to the dark side, full of conviction that what he is doing is the right thing. He will eventually become Darth Caedus. I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing that right. I don't know.
Yeah,
say it with confidence. But so that's the newest. That came out. Let's see, Latino Review posted it June 11th. But let's see. It looks like it originated from schmozknow.com. And I don't really follow much of Schmoes Know. I've heard of them though, but see, they posted it. Looks like about 5 days ago about a week ago they posted that. So this is really new. This is fresh, and so that's that. I mean, we've had the plot rumor before this, where it was about an apprentice of Palpatine coming to kind of wreak havoc and bring back, I think, the Sith army.
Now, that was
So
official. Wasn't that?
that wasn't official. That was like a really, it was a rumor, but it was really believed to be, the plot. So this kind of contradicts that.
I thought,
in a way. I think it could contradict it.
Yeah, was I thought that they had
I don't
talked
know.
about like just a like you said, a descendant of Palpatine.
Yeah.
So
A disciple of Palpatine.
disciple of
Yeah.
Palpatine. That's right, disciple. So that wasn't from the official site. I thought
No, that was
from
an
the
official.
site.
No, I don't remember it being from the official thing.
So yeah,
But
that's
they say, Schmoes know says it's from a reliable source, an anonymous reliable source. Has seen a copy of the alleged casting breakdown that he has been or about to be sent out from J.J. Abrams. It's because what I read for you is basically the casting breakdown. That's because it was said like Jaina, 17-year-old female, kind of stuff.
well, we've kind of said, like this is possible. I mean, because this is all expanded universe stuff. That's
Exactly.
what's crazy is that they're actually pulling from the universe if this happens.
Yeah.
Because we won't spoil who actually ends up fighting and killing him. Because that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah. But but that happens though. The whole Darth Caedus thing in the expanded universe happens. It does happen like about 30 years after Return of the Jedi.
Well, because because they got to get married, and if they're teenagers, then it's
yeah. But I have to look it up. I feel like that they were older when he became Darth Caedus. But it's just that would be a really cool story. I think. It's similar. Yeah. Anakin to the dark side, sure, but it keeps it within the Skywalker family, and it's it just seems like it's just people didn't want to have Darth Vader in the. And it's don't bring back Darth Vader kind of stuff in 79. But this is cool because I think it's good to keep the legacy of the Skywalker family and the dark side having such a problem with the Skywalker family having such a problem with the dark side. Because when what does it say in original Star Wars? Once you kind of dabble with the dark side forever, it will kind of dominate your future or whatever. So this is basically we're seeing that if this is true, the dark side just keeps hitting the Skywalker family, just because Anakin Skywalker was the one to start it all, basically. Start with the dark side.
yes.
What do you think about this?
No, I think this is a very, very realistic aspect of it. But is his turn to the dark side? The big question is his turn to the dark side. And his ultimate defeat, is that the story of the trilogy? Or is that just the story of Episode 7?
Yeah. It seems like
it'd be
so soon to happen in Episode 7. I don't know.
It
Unless
would.
it happened at the very end of Episode 7.
Because is that description they're giving the entire trilogy? Or is it, obviously it doesn't say, but I'm just saying,
it just says Episode 7.
It's Episode 7.
Yeah.
So there is a lot that happens in Episode 7 if that's the case. Now, if you remember the theme of all 6 movies, though, right?
Yeah.
They don't time jump. There's not time jumps. There's not like this happens and then 6 months later it's fast forward 6 months later. What happens in those movies really are a moment.
Yeah.
Like a course of a day or two. So it'd be hard to because that fall would take some time.
Yeah.
Just like Anakin, right? Hell, it took basically from Episode 2 to Episode 3. That was like 3 years, right? So 3 or 4 years. To ultimately he becomes a Sith. Mm-hmm. So it's not like we're gonna. I don't think we're gonna. But maybe that's what I'm saying is maybe the script's gonna change. I don't know. Is it gonna be where we drop in and they're teenagers getting trained by Luke, and all of a sudden we're gonna fast forward to 10 years later, and then he falls? I don't know. I don't think that's not a Star Wars themed movie.
The only way I can see it would work if it happened in Episode 7 is if right from the beginning of the movie we are introduced to Jason Solo, and that's kind of like his character's weakness is he's struggling with the dark side right from the beginning of the movie. I mean, that's the only thing I could see how it would work, but it still would seem very soon if...
Yeah, I think he's not going to... If that's the story, I don't think he's turning until episode 8.
Yeah.
And then 9 is bringing him back. Because I think it's wise to... I think it'd be cool to focus the trilogy on these two twins.
Yeah.
I really do. Because I think... I mean, you can get a lot of aspect there with the brother and sister, and yeah, you can definitely theme it to where you can see their power in the first one.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing: is his fall. There's got to be somebody there to make him fall. Mm-hmm. Usually, right? I mean, he's not going to just turn by himself. Now I don't know what happens in the.
I actually don't know. I haven't gone that far.
Yeah, I don't know what happens. Why he turns in the expanded universe, but. Usually there's someone there pushing you over the edge, right? So that's who could be the disciple of Palpatine that we don't know about.
Yeah.
And then he comes and finds Jason, turns him in episode 8. They go on a rampage, and then 9 is when they, defeat him kind of thing. So if that's the theme, that sounds pretty cool to me. Because then, again, you have those characters like Han, Leia, and Luke as kind of secondary characters. Luke, I think, would be more of a prominent character.
Yeah.
And then maybe Han and Leia is kind of secondary stuff, behind the scenes kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But that sounds like a pretty cool story to me.
And one thing maybe that can push him over the edge is maybe Han Solo dying. I don't know.
Or Luke dying.
Yeah.
I think, now in the expanded universe, they have a third child.
Yes.
Anakin.
Anakin Solo.
Anakin Solo.
And he died before Jason turned to the dark side.
Correct. Yeah.
So it seems like unless they start episode 7 and Anakin Solo's already dead, and they basically would have to introduce and give exposition like, we had a son, he's dead now. That doesn't seem good to me. Unless they just totally write him out.
I think they're gonna. I think they're gonna write him out.
Although I love the character Anakin Solo, he is awesome in the books, really awesome. It would be sad if they didn't include him in this movie if they are including the Solo twins. But yeah, I mean, it sounds really cool. I think this could definitely work because it is a good story in the books. I know that my friends who have read it love it, love the story, and. So I feel like it could work in a movie,
Yeah, I think so.
And it just also makes me excited that if they are going to do this expanded universe story in episode 7, that there's room that they could do other expanded universe stories,
Yeah.
One thing I would love to see is just little animated movies, like, what DC and Marvel do, these little animated movies. I would love to see that with Star Wars and to fill in the gap maybe between, or I guess animated shows would be cool too, in between 6 and 7, like we talked about, like maybe introduce
or comics,
like introduce Thrawn in some TV show in between 6 and 7. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, it'd be cool.
But yeah,
it'll be cool. So anyway, that's the big one step further to figuring out what the story is going to be in episode 7, 8, 9, possibly. A couple things that got released this week I want to touch on is the next issue of the comic that Casey kind of mentioned, number 6 of Star Wars. I guess I'm a huge fan of it. I love the comic. This kind of continues the story of the Alliance trying to find a new base. They are getting pursued by the Emperor, obviously. And where we're picking this up at is where Leia, Wedge, and the other one I can't, the name escapes me, but they're on kind of a
Tess,
I think it is. Yeah, you're right. They're on a recon mission or a scout mission trying to find a new planet, but they keep getting, and that's the thing, is they're trying to find out why they're getting followed all the time. They're getting some information of their whereabouts are getting leaked, and they keep running into Imperials, and Leia's ship is damaged, and someone's got to come to the rescue. But at the same time, Han and Chewie are on Coruscant on a secret mission, but they end up getting discovered, and they're on the run from Imperials there. So a lot going on in this book right now. Very entertaining. I mean, it feels like a Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
Reading it. I love the art. I've always said I love the art of it. But they're doing really well, and this is the first cover. I love the cover. This is the first cover where they're all the original guys are on the front.
Yeah,
Han, Chewie, Darth, Leia, Luke. They're all on here. So
Yeah, this issue definitely is to me the best so far of this series. Cause, like I've been impressed with every issue before this, but for some reason I was always somewhat dissatisfied with the very end of it. I don't know, but I guess I'm just being nitpicky. But this one was a very solid issue. Yeah, and it's been so long since I read the previous one, so I might have to refresh my memory because this one ended with a panel of Han Solo and where he's at, and so I was like slightly confused because I forgot honestly what he was going through. But
it ended with just like panels jumping. Right?
It was cool. It was like
episode 3 almost.
Yeah, but it was this is very interesting. Like because what's so good about this is it's characterized. It's actually adding some characterization to like Leia and Luke.
Absolutely,
like Leia is a like intense politician. Like she's a pretty kick butt character in this, and she's pretty awesome. Like she's in there flying the X-wings and fighting herself, like combat fighting. And Luke Skywalker is also doing the same thing, but he's kind of somewhat of a hothead, and he's also learning the Force still. Like Obi-Wan's talking to him, and it's really interesting what they're doing with these characters. And yeah, it's a pretty fun ride.
It is. And then the other thing they got released. We've been talking a couple times about the card game, Star Wars the card game. Another Force pack got released. The third one in the Hoth cycle, what they're calling, and it's called the Dark Times. I was looking at some of the cards. I picked it up the other day, and looking at it, they're really releasing some crazy abilities on these things, and they're really shaping the game differently. So I don't know. I got to look at those cards and look at building something else. Maybe still waiting for this big expansion, which we'll mention when it comes out. The big expansion of it is when they release the Scum and Villainy and Smugglers and Spies affiliations, and we'll get more into. I think we got to do a podcast probably just more detailed about the game because we haven't really talked about the aspect of the game, and we just kind of mentioned it to you guys, and we've got some listeners that play it, and it's fun. It's a cool game. So, but anyway, keep up with that. And if you are collecting it or if you're playing the game, these Force packs apparently go pretty quick because I looked online for like the first one that came out, and it's on back order. Like you can't even get it right now. So, but if you call A+ Comics, they got some all 3 Force packs in there. They got like 2 packs of each still. They order 2 for me every time because I get Corey's every time. I get Corey to get it. So anyway, A+ Comics, by the way, check them out. apluscomics.com. They got a brand new website up there. So all right, so that's all the talking we're gonna do. We got
now we dance.
We got trivia. Episode 13. We have a horrible record. This book is hard, man. This book is hard. After 12 episodes, we are both 6-6.
Yeah.
Horrible.
So how much have we gotten wrong? Like
6.
We've gotten 6 wrong.
6 right, 6 wrong. Okay. Each of us.
Okay.
Yeah. And not necessarily the same ones, obviously, because sometimes we answer differently. But like last week, we got both of them wrong, even though we answered 2 different. Yeah. So this is, there are multiple choice questions. We do trivia from a book called Obsessed with Star Wars. 2,500 questions. And this is the 13th question. And right now we're taking it 1941. Question 1941. Ew. Which is going to be in the, looks like it's going to be in the Empire. Yeah, it looks like Empire.
1941.
Yeah, 1941. Okay, so this is the Empire that Strikes Back era.
Okay.
And here is the question. Whose head... Okay. Whose head was put on backward when he was being reassembled?
See, you get the hard ones and you can get easy ones.
I know, right? Do you even have
C-3PO.
Yeah, which is B. So we won't even waste any time and just not even give the remaining,
See, like it's...
The choices, by the way, were R2, C-3PO, FX7 or 4LOM, 4LOM. So,
dang it. Well, at least we got something right.
At least we got one right. So, hey, we're in the upper 500s, above 500 for.
I want like a question where, like, we can guess very well. Like, we can make an educated guess.
Yeah, like we know it, but like we know it because we know it because of the knowledge. Not that everybody knows it.
Yeah.
But I know that because I read this. I read it. Yeah. I haven't really hit one of those yet.
Yeah, it's questions that just plain straight up. I don't know how you can know that.
Yeah.
Easy ones like that.
I know.
Doggone it. All right.
Anyways. But we're gonna run into some of those here and there. So all right, that does it for this week's show. Again, we are finishing Rebel Alliance month next week when we talk about the Rebel Alliance after we've hit on all three main members of the formation of the Rebel Alliance. We're going to talk about the Rebel Alliance next week to finish up. And then next month, as Casey said, in July, we are doing Bounty Hunter month. So check that out. And actually, if you can, send us some suggestions on some bounty hunters you would like us to hit on. You can either email us at info@insidetheforce.com or hit us on Twitter at Inside the Force. Hit Casey up at Kryptonian1138.
Great.
I'm at D Cottingham 21. So send us your, if you got it. I mean, if you really want to hear about some bounty hunters we didn't talk about, or if you know some other ones that we haven't mentioned, let us know. We might talk about them, or even just skim over them real fast while we're talking about somebody else. Who knows? Mm-hmm. And real fast too, I wanted to say. This is Super Month, actually, across the 21 Network now. Mm-hmm. We are Star Wars-centered podcast, obviously, so we're not talking about Superman. But real quick, though, we did see Man of Steel.
Oh, yes, we did. I saw it for the second time today.
Yeah, and Casey's seen it twice already. Spoiler-free, real quick review.
Fan-flippin-tastic. I do understand some of the criticisms people have, although I disagree with them. I still think, don't look at the little nitpicky things about the movie. Judge it as a whole. I mean, some people would even say it's bad as a whole. But to me, awesome film. It made me feel things I haven't felt in a long time.
Yeah, my anticipation for this movie was even basically a little more than it was for episode 1.
Yep.
I had extreme expectations for this movie. I am a huge Superman fan, as Casey is. We both are. We're both pretty much Star Wars and Superman are kind of our main loves, And I'm just finally happy that we've got a great Superman movie. I'm looking forward to a great Episode 7 movie. But if you gotta see the movie at least once.
Yes.
I mean, you may have criticisms about it. Please don't listen to critics, for one, because if you listen to critics, 50% of them right now don't like the movie. But if you listen to fans, 89% of them are saying, go see this movie. Yeah. So the fans are loving this movie.
And money doesn't lie.
That's
honestly.
right.
Even though like Avatar made $1 billion, whatever, and I didn't like it that much, it's still a good movie.
Yes.
This Man of Steel is a very good movie.
Mm-hmm. It is worth seeing, especially, and I will say this, especially on Father's Day. Absolutely. It's actually a very good movie to see on Father's Day.
Well, they'll be hearing this after Father's Day.
Yeah, I understand that. We're recording this the day before Father's Day. We're kind of doing a little earlier this week, but but it's a great Father's Day film. It's a great family film to go with your father. It's a really good movie, and if you listen to the other podcasts on the 21 Network this week, you will be getting spoiler-esque reviews, especially on the 21 podcast and in the comics. At the end of the week, we will give our spoiler reviews. Right now on In the Comics, if you're listening to this on Tuesday, right now on In the Comics last week, we have our spoiler-free review from me, from Russell, and from Casey here. We go into more detail about what we liked about the movie without giving too much away.
Yeah. Hopefully I'll be actually writing a spoiler-filled review.
Yes.
Just to kind of all the stuff I've read.
I really suggest stay away from YouTube. Stay away from stay away from anything critical and really judge it for yourself.
Right, yeah.
Just really judge it for yourself because it's well worth it. Yeah. It's well worth it. All right, so that's our push for Man of Steel. We don't get paid for that. That was a freebie. Thanks for checking us out. We are Inside the Force, InsideTheForce.com for all of our information is all right there, as well as all of the podcasts. Hit us back for what you think about the show. Rate us on iTunes if you get a chance. And check us back next week for episode 14. The Rebel Alliance is what we're going to talk about. For Casey Cooley.
By the Force be with us. That was hard. There's like no other good Mon Mothma quotes because we already said it.
Right. So you went with
Akbar.
Yeah. Admiral Akbar, yes. All right, I'm David Cottingham. Thanks for listening, everybody, and may the Force be with you.
This has been a production of the 21 Network, a collection of weekly podcasts. For more great podcasts, visit 21network.com. To view additional content, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/21network. Follow us on Twitter at 21network for the latest news and updates. The 21 Network, for the fan and all of us.